seasons on our You Are Loved interviews that we're doing, just sharing stories of amazing transformations through Jesus Christ. And so season 3 has ended, and we will be launching season 4 December 4th. And we've already started some of those interviews, and let me tell you, it is going to be a powerful season. You are not going to want to miss that. But in between the seasons, we had a few weeks that we wanted to do something a little bit different. So we are bringing to you the different ministries that we talk about in our You Are Loved series. And one of those ministries, our favorite, is True Purpose Ministries. So joining us today, we have Pastor Jeremy Graham. So Jeremy, say hi and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello. It is an honor to be here. And of course, I am the founder of True Purpose Ministries, and we started that back in 2009, and we are about to celebrate our 15-year anniversary.
Congratulations. Yep. That's exciting. Yep. We are going to dig into that a little bit more as we go. For those of you who don't know, my husband, Ken Hawk, who's been joining us every week, I think I forgot to introduce him last week, and I felt kind of bad about that. So for those of you who don't know, do you want to say hi, honey?
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. So if you are joining us live, be sure to comment, let us know where you're watching from, and feel free to ask questions. So we're going to ask Pastor Jeremy some questions, but we also want to know what you're interested in hearing about. So feel free, make comments, and then also just want to put a plug in. Next week, we are going to have Stephen and Kat Dees here, who represent Celebrate Recovery, one of the other ministries. And then the following week, we're going to actually have our producer, Lakin Kimsey, come out and talk to you and give some just sort of behind the scenes and our vision for everything that we're doing. So be sure to join us for those weeks also. But we want to jump in with our favorite thing to do, and that's 20 questions.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I think so. I hope so.
These are super random, but it's just fun. Little way to get to know more about Pastor Jeremy. So, okay. Number 1, after a long day, what is your favorite way to relax?
You know, my wife will tell you I come home and I just like to stare at a wall.
Oh.
It's funny. She says, "You're not going to do anything?" No, I'm fine. I'm just fine sitting here.
Just
because,
sitting.
you know, you got to think about it. We talk all the time. We talk to so many different people. But no, seriously, I like to come home and just unravel and hang out with my family.
That's wonderful.
Pretty much, yeah.
What was your least favorite food as a child?
My least favorite, I would say, was probably broccoli as a child.
Broccoli. Do you like broccoli now?
I do. I love broccoli.
Yeah, I love broccoli.
Yeah, I eat it.
But yeah, most kids don't for some reason.
Yeah.
Okay, what is your favorite kind of sandwich?
BLTs.
Oh.
I love BLTs.
With mayonnaise?
Yes.
Yeah, we don't like mayonnaise.
No. Well, no, in the South, you know, mayonnaise is another term that you can use. Mayonnaise, you know, there's a lot of people here.
I like that.
I need an interpreter sometimes for the Southern words.
Yeah, it's Jeff Foxworthy. I mean, if you watch him, man, this is a great place.
We have a contractor that talks like that, so we're good. We're learning.
We're learning. Although the first time that our church was taking donations for toboggans, I was super confused because it does not snow here, and I did not understand why we needed to collect sleds, because a toboggan in the north is a sled, and I had no idea they were hats. That's a Southern thing.
Yeah, it is. It sure is. Yeah.
Okay, can you cook?
Yes, I can.
What's the best thing that you make?
Oh, I tell you, my wife loves it when I make like an Italian piccata sauce, kind of.
Oh, like fancy cook.
Yeah, kind of. I love cooking. I've always had a gifting to do that.
Wow, That's awesome.
Yeah.
What kind of ice cream do you like?
I love Rocky Road, Baskin Robbins Rocky Road.
I love Rocky Road too. That's good. Ken likes butter pecan.
Is that bad?
I don't know. It's just weird. I think you're the only person I know that eats butter pecan ice cream. I don't know. I mean, there have to be others.
Have you ever heard of German chocolate ice cream?
What kind?
German chocolate.
I've heard of German chocolate cake.
Yeah, it's German chocolate ice cream. They have it at Baskin Robbins. It's very good too.
Really?
Yeah.
Is there Baskin Robbins around here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he owns one up in.
Yeah, I'm plugging it right there.
Okay, what is your favorite sport to watch on TV?
Football.
Football? Like college football, NFL?
I prefer college football.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Are you a Vols fan?
No, I'm not. I'm Alabama fan.
Okay. That
But I'm
means
from
nothing to me.
Alabama, so I'm not one of those bandwagon guys.
Okay.
I'm from Alabama.
So you're allowed to like them.
I am, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I've liked them since I was a kid.
About 30 people just dropped off.
Yeah, I know. Well,
Thanks.
anybody that would tune in to see me, they know that. So.
Have you ever personally played a sport?
Yes, I played football, basketball, and baseball.
Oh, okay. Very athletic. Like in high school or college or
Just high school.
Okay. Awesome. How many pets do you have?
I have 3, 1 Schnauzer and 2 poodles.
Oh, I would not have guessed that.
We like the hypoallergenic
Yes.
dogs that do not shed. But yeah, those 3 dogs are great.
Oh. If you could have any animal as a pet, what would it be?
I love dogs.
Just dogs?
Yeah, we've had tons of pets having kids. We've had the chinchillas. My son has a dragon, some kind of it's like a
Like a lizard thing?
Yeah, kind of like I don't know what they call it.
Iguana or...
Yeah, maybe kind of like iguana, but bearded dragon, that's what it is.
Got it.
But, dog, it's just my favorite. I come home and the dog is always there to welcome me and, of course, jump in my lap. So I love dogs.
And he can stare at the wall with you.
Yeah, sure. That's what she does.
No
She'll get up and do that.
Yeah, that's great.
Now,
That's
I thought
great.
about wanting a monkey. As a kid, I wanted a monkey, but I heard that they do pretty bad things. So
Yes, because I've wanted one too, but I heard the same thing. And they live a really long time.
oh yeah, you got to be committed.
Yes.
That's why we don't have a parrot,
Yeah, that's true.
or like a tortoise.
Yeah, like hamsters. You got 3 years, you're out.
Yeah,
Yeah, but one time he took what'd you take back?
I didn't really.
He got like a gerbil, and they said it would live like a minimum of 2 years, but after 2 years, he was like, it lived too long. And right? Didn't you
yeah, we got to bring them back.
take it back to the pet store? Anyway, sorry, I guess that's not funny. If you had a time machine, would you rather go to the past or the future?
I'd really go to the past.
The past? Like your past or like far in the past?
My past.
Okay.
Being a pastor and then struggling with drugs and alcohol, there's a lot of things that I regret.
Okay.
But there's that whole argument that God's timing is perfect and all of that made me who I am. I
Yeah.
get all that, but there's just some things in my past that I would really like to change. And if I could have started serving the Lord earlier, there's no telling what where I could be or what I could be doing. But again, all that is water under the bridge.
Yeah.
But I'd probably go back to the past.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you could live anywhere on earth for 1 year, where would it be?
Maryville, Tennessee. Is it anywhere new or just?
It doesn't matter. You just love where you live. Like
I love it.
you have no
Man,
desire to
no, I do
go
not.
anywhere else.
I do not. I mean, I just got back from Australia not too long ago. Loved Australia, but I love Maryville, Tennessee. I mean, this is my home, and I know that I'm exactly in the center of God's will.
It's awesome.
Now, I did like Montana. Montana is great. That area is great, but living there for a year, it'd be tough.
Yeah.
Maryville is my home.
That's great. We
Yeah,
do
that's
love.
great.
We do love. We've lived here 7 years now, and we ask people like, do you ever get tired of the mountains and the view? And everyone we talk to says
do not.
never.
No, never.
We've met people who live here for 30 years and they still go hiking every weekend. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
just, it is.
Yep.
We love it.
Yes.
Yeah, I love it too.
We do feel incredibly blessed to live here.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Do you generally show up to places early or late?
Early all the time.
Good. Okay.
Yep.
That's good. I know.
I'm always on time.
I'm ex-military, so.
Okay.
Yeah,
See, and my
always
dad
early.
taught me 15 minutes early is on time. So if I'm not 15 minutes early, I'm late.
Sure.
And I don't get stressed out, but when we try to load up our kids and get somewhere on time, it is literally like
It's
the
hard.
only thing that stresses me out. Like, we're going to be late. And
It's
we're
hard.
always 10 minutes early, but
Yeah.
that's late.
Sure. My wife struggles with being on time. That is a struggle of hers. I love her, but it is a struggle. And so there's times where I'm rushing her up, or sometimes I just have to leave and go and meet her there. But I have to be on time.
We do have friends that they drive separate cars everywhere they go.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, at church services, we drive separate
Yeah.
cars. We do.
Okay. Do you have a nickname?
Several. They call me PJ, and I have been called the Red Fox
Oh,
for years. I guess since 2006, one of my spiritual sons started calling me the Red Fox. And so it's just always kind of kept. But PJ is my main nickname now.
I actually knew that, remember, because somebody was calling.
You were doing an interview, and they're like,
Yes.
PJ this and PJ. I'm like,
Yeah.
who's PJ?
Yeah, that's
Pastor
me.
Jeremy. Oh, I got it now.
That's me. Yeah,
Okay.
everybody calls me that.
That's
Except
good.
Stephen. Stephen said he doesn't.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he calls me Pastor Jeremy. Yeah,
That's right.
Sure does. Yeah.
Are you a morning person or a night owl?
I would have to say I'm more morning now. I don't like to talk a lot in the morning. My wife literally can wake up and start talking about Dr. Phil stuff, like my deepest and darkest secrets. As soon as we walk out of bed, I cannot do that. I still have cobwebs. I'm just good on waking up early and spending time with the Lord. I love my morning prayer time. Man, I tell you, I love it. I couldn't go without it. And so that I am a morning person. But I can stay up late too. But I tell you, I can't stay up as late as I used to. I used to stay up a whole lot later than I do now. But
It's harder when you get
yes.
a little older. I get that.
Well, and two, waking up early all the time.
Right.
When you wake up early, it is hard to, unless you take a nap. But sometimes, or most time, I don't get a nap.
Right.
Yeah.
They should give you a nap room
Yes.
at the ministry.
That's right. Yeah,
Yes.
I agree. Yeah. Let's see if we can make that happen. Lakin, can we make that happen?
Do you like board games?
I do playing it with my family, but that's something that we don't really do that very often. But I tell you what I like the most is puzzles.
Okay.
I love puzzles.
Like 1,000-piece puzzles?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 1,000 piece, 500, but 1,000. If we go on vacation, I love to have a puzzle, and I'll just go and just sit down and do it for a while. It is the most peaceful thing to me. I
Yeah.
don't know why. It stresses my wife out, my family out, because they're like, they want to get it done.
Right.
But no, I love it. I could sit there and do that for days.
Huh.
Yeah, I like it.
So we adopted a little boy, and he's really good at puzzles, but like, I don't know. Tell me if you do this. Like, I have to get all the edge pieces,
That's
and
what
then
I
I
do.
have to put the outside
Yep.
in, and then fill in the middle.
That's
and he'll
exactly
just
what I
pick a piece up and just put it down, and then pick up another random piece, and I'm like.
Yeah.
He's like, Mom, help me. And I'm like, no, I can't. I'm sorry. Like,
No.
if we can do the edge, I can help.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's beyond
That's
me.
the first thing I do. The edges and the corners. You got to get the four corners. Actually, that's what I do.
Yep.
And then get the edges in between.
Good. So you're normal.
Yeah. That's right. I hope so.
If you could learn any foreign language, what would you want to learn?
I'd say Spanish.
Yeah. That's good. It's
Yeah.
most useful.
I know a little bit. I learned a lot in high school, but I don't know near enough.
Okay.
But yeah, I'd say Spanish.
Okay. What was your first car?
A Honda CRX.
A Honda CRX.
It's like a hatchback.
Okay.
A little sporty back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was my first car.
That's pretty cool.
I had it for 2 months and I totaled it.
Oh,
Yeah.
not
God,
cool.
that's another God story. I mean, I could go into it, but I won't. But I mean, God saved my life. That was the first time that the enemy tried to kill me.
Really?
Yeah.
And you say first time, there's obviously been more?
Oh man, yeah. I can tell you tons of stories where he tried to kill me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yep. God is good.
Yes, he is.
Hmm.
What was the least favorite job you've ever had?
I would have to say stucco, concrete stucco on the outside of houses. I absolutely despise that job.
But not here in Alabama?
Yeah, in
or
Alabama,
okay.
yeah.
They do a lot of
It was-
stucco there.
Yeah, I did it before I got saved and also after I got saved. But it's just, I don't know, it's just that kind of work that I just didn't enjoy at all. Concrete wasn't good either. Now, I didn't do that very long, but block, no, I don't like any of the masonry stuff. I'm good not ever having to do that again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, last question here. And then what is the best advice anyone has ever given you?
I tell you, I've gotten a lot. My spiritual father has given me tons, but I tell you, I guess the one that just comes to my mind right now that just really sticks in my heart and always has, is a very prominent, wealthy businessman up in Indiana. that is just a great Christian man. He told me, he was asking me about my time, and I said, yeah, I'm busy here, I'm busy there, I'm trying to figure out what to do. And he says, well, Jeremy, you got to listen to this. And he says, when you say yes to something, you have to say no to something else. Mm-hmm. And so that really has always stuck with me, and it's helped me keep my priorities and on track, because when you have family, when you have ministry, when you have church, when you have your own personal time, you got to really watch out what you say yes to, because I think one thing about ministers that they do a lot is they say yes all the time, because they have just some people pleasing inside of them that they really want to do as much as they can to help as many people out. But you have to understand that when you say yes to something else, you have to say no to something else.
That's good.
And so that was just a great piece of advice that's always stuck with me, and it's really helped me with my priorities.
Yeah, that's good. It's good advice. It's hard. Right? Hard to
it
say.
It is. It's hard to say no sometimes. But you just have to do it,
Yeah.
And do what God has called you to do and stay in that lane.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So.
Well, we have Tom watching, and he said that staring at the wall is a completely underrated activity. So he also must enjoy
Yes, sir. That is great to do.
Staring at the wall. We've got several people saying hi here. So hi, thanks for joining us. Again, if you're joining us, feel free to ask questions. We will maybe ask Pastor Jeremy to answer them for you. Where do you want to start with this? My 20 questions little game is up. So
well, let's start about True Purpose. Let's understand what it is, and not everybody watching knows. How did you start it? What is True Purpose, maybe first?
All right, we are a substance abuse facility, but we are faith-based, and we are state licensed, and we are a year long. So a lot of places that you see, especially the bigger secular places, they're more 28 days, and then they'll go IOP after that, and they may do some what they call sober living housing. We are a full 1 year long program. And so for 1 year, it's broken up into different phases, but basically it's 4 90-day phases. And so each 90 days, you kind of get more liberty as you go through. You can imagine somebody coming off drugs and alcohol, you cannot give them tons of liberty in the very beginning, because they're just not going to make the right choices. They still got drugs and alcohol flowing through their veins. Their head is just still foggy, and they're not able to make the right decisions. And so they need that accountability. So the first 90 days is just, more accountability. I guess you would call it more strict, more rules for them. But as they go through that 90 days, of course, then they start to move through the other phases to where they get more liberty. They can get a job, stuff like that. But the first 90 days is crucial, because the first 90 days is when they go through the state license treatment. They go through the state license job training, and they go through just tons of biblical teachings and counseling. And then after that, of course, they're ready for the workforce at the end of 90 days. And so the year-long program is the best thing, because, again, a lot of people just want to try to shorten that, and they don't want to give God a year. A year is huge, because if you look at a year, you have all 4 seasons. And when you walk with somebody with all 4 seasons, I mean, you see things that is coming out in fall that you didn't see in spring. In spring, everything was hunky-dory, and they were great and wonderful, and nothing was wrong. But as you walk with somebody for a year, you really start to see some things in their life that you can really help them. And again, a year, though, helps you build more habits and helps you get into more of a routine of this new life. And so we thrive on the long-term recovery, and, of course, being faith-based in Jesus Christ.
Yes.
Okay, so for those people who don't know everything about it, so for men and women, right?
Yes, sir.
You have homes, and you provide housing.
Yes,
so
sir.
people that come and live in this program. And how many beds do you have? Let's say for men.
Okay, so for men, we have our Maryville campus is 75. We have a Sevierville campus that ranges around 30 to 35. And then we have our Motel Lighthouse project that is in Monroe County in Madisonville, and we have couples there, so the men can go with their wives after they complete 90 days of treatment with us in each separate facilities. And so roughly have 10 rooms for the couples there. So
that alone, the couples program is unique by itself, right?
It is, yeah. It's a taboo, so to speak. I guess that's one thing that True Purpose has always done. With the recovery community, there's a lot of things that are just taboo and have been taboo for years. Pregnant women was one of those things. A lot of people would not take pregnant women because they're just so afraid of a liability and being sued if something wrong was to happen to the baby. But of course, in 2018, we just really there was some people doing it, but not many. Especially in our area, and so we just really felt like that's something that we desperately needed to do, and we just want to see the need and fill it. And couples is another taboo. They say no, if you are a couple, they cannot do it together. We understand that. We get that. It's hard because sometimes if a woman wants to leave, then the male wants to leave too, or vice versa. If the male wants to leave, then the woman wants to leave. But when you put them in two separate facilities for 90 days and let them work on their own, on themselves, then they go after 90 days of being, then of course they're married, they go into the couples program. They can then start, with the rest of the program, with that extra 9 months, they can work on themselves, their marriage, their family, their kids, working to get their kids back. It's a really good thing. And I just see that, sometimes those things are taboo, but we're called to spearhead. We're called to bust through.
Has the couples program, it's new, correct?
Yes, sir.
Have you had people go a year yet, or is it not a year-old program yet?
Let's see. We got to be really close. Yeah, I think we have. We're actually giving some people some above and beyond awards this November 17th, I believe it is. It's on a Sunday, that are in the motel. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they made it.
Yes, they did.
They stayed together.
Yes.
Work together for a year.
Awesome.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Good job. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank
awesome.
you. I appreciate that. And they've got their families back, kids back. I mean, just it's phenomenal to see.
So awesome.
We want to do the family. We were doing men for a while, but then we said, okay, let's reach out to the women, pregnant women. But then we saw, man, we've got to reach the whole family.
Yes.
The whole family needs us. Needs Jesus, and so that's what we were able to do. And I'll tell you, we've seen some great things.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Well, we know your heart is the true restoration. Which includes the whole family.
Yes.
The whole family, yes.
And
holistic.
That's our heart, and we just love that about True Purpose.
Yeah.
That's restoration all the way through.
We appreciate that.
And so you mentioned how many men's homes you have, and you mentioned pregnant women, but tell me about the women's homes also.
Okay, so we have a pregnant women's home in Von Orr. That's the original. It's not too far from here. And we, of course, we're about to have graduate housing back behind there that we're really excited about. And thank you all for, just how you've helped with that project. But I tell you, we're looking really forward to that because that graduate housing is able to give the women somewhere to go after they start coming through the program. And I tell you, it's going to be able to house, roughly 6 women and 6 babies. Mm-hmm. And so it's going to be really good. But also we have Maryville, and that is our McCoy maternity home, and that's named after Jan McCoy. Mm-hmm. She's just on our board, but she's just a great woman of God. Yes, great woman of God. Woman. And she's just done so much for our program as well. And so that home houses, about 16. And then also we have a house behind that we're looking to basically make a graduate housing as well there. And then our last one would be, actually that's not our last one, we opened up a new one. Our second to last one is the Sevierville home. It is joined alongside of the court system of Sevier County, and it works with workforce development. It kind of serves like a drug court but we house the ladies and treat them and make sure that they go through the whole process with the probation department. It's a unique program. It's really good, but it's unique, and then of course we have our Lighthouse motel where we have the couples on the bottom and we have started putting women on top. Yeah, and so I think we are getting pretty close to being full. I think we have about 3 or 4 rooms left that is about to be filled too. So, yeah, we've really got a lot of people. If you count all the beds, you're looking at around 180 beds that we have.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's 180 people that are not on the streets and not in trap houses and not overdosing.
Yes.
So,
well, and I don't want to put you on the spot with numbers, but you said pregnant women was so taboo, but how many babies have you had now born drug-free?
We just had our 41st the other day. Yeah, 41. So, Yeah, we're really happy about that.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I don't know if y'all know the numbers. I think I may have shared this before, but back in 2018 when we started the program, we saw that it cost the state of Tennessee $64,000 to treat a baby that was born with NAS, which was neonatal abstinence syndrome. But if they were born healthy with no drugs and alcohol in their system, it only cost the state $4,000. So
Wow.
that saved the state $60,000. So Jesus has saved the state of Tennessee $60,000 times 41.
Times 41.
Yeah. So you're looking at what, 2.4
$2.4 million.
something million. Yeah. That's what it saved. That's just our little ministry.
Yeah.
Is what it saved the state of Tennessee. So
Wow.
Yeah.
Are there many other ministries? I mean, since it was taboo, do you know of many others doing pregnant women?
I do.
Recovery?
Yeah, I've seen some. Now, like I said, there were some that were doing it when we started, but just not a whole lot in our area. But since we've started it, and that's one thing I've noticed is that as we kind of break through, sometimes people come behind us because they've seen that it can be done,
Right.
and that's great, and
Yeah.
we welcome that because we need as many as we possibly can to help as many
Absolutely.
people as we can. Yeah. So.
You can't see this, but someone's really happy about that, and there's like 10,000 hearts going off
Right.
on the chat right now. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
Thank y'all. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's awesome. Give
That's-
God the glory.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. God is good.
Yeah, He is.
It's amazing what he's doing.
That's right. Yeah.
So, so someone on here asked, how'd you get started? Like, how did True Purpose come? How, how did you, what gave you the vision for it? How did it come up to be what it is today?
Well, my dad was in the Army, and just a very, very, very quick testimony, but we moved around a lot. Every 4 years, I was in a new place. I had trauma in my background, and basically everywhere I went, I was just starting over every time. And I wanted to be, just like every kid, wanted to be the cool kid, wanted to fit in. And so what I found myself doing is trying to fit in with a cool crowd everywhere I went. But of course, with a cool crowd came drugs and alcohol. And so I developed a drug and alcohol problem. And my dad tried to help me, and he was, of course, an Army chaplain. He was lieutenant colonel, and he was in Special Forces, 82nd Airborne.
Wow.
He tried to help me, but, I just didn't want the help. And so I, of course, ran the other way. I went into the Army myself, and I actually did drugs several times through the Army. Did not get caught. There was times where I should have gotten caught, but His mercy and His grace showed that I did not at that particular point. But of course, then I had to face the music, and I went in one day I was in 20th Special Forces Group, National Guard in Alabama, and I went in one day, and there was drug testing going on, and I had to get drug tested, and I was evicted from the military.
Wow.
And so, praise the Lord, I got a general discharge instead of
good.
dishonorable. Praise the Lord. That was a move of God on its own. But I was that started the trek of me hitting rock bottom. I started slowly but surely just spiraling out of control. And at age 23, I was coming down off of meth, crystal meth, and several other drugs. And I had lost $1,000 gambling on that one Sunday. And I was broke, disgusted, just at my wit's end. And I was driving home one day, and I heard the Lord speak to me for the first time ever. I'd never heard it before, but it was His audible voice. And He said, "What else is it going to take?"
Wow.
And I said, "Absolutely nothing." And, it still chokes me up today because that voice is just so real, And when I heard that voice, I said, "Absolutely nothing." And I had one of those absolutely unbelievable born again experiences. I mean, it was. I didn't go through rehab. I should have. I mean, I was one of those guys that was a trash can. I mean, I literally tried to put everything in my body. When I wasn't high, I tried to huff whatever I could to get high. I mean, I just didn't want to be sober at all. And I tell you, it's amazing because I had that born again experience. And so I developed such a hunger. Man, I had such a hunger for Him. That verse that says, as the deer panteth for the water, so my soul longs after you. I guess that was the best way I could describe it. I had such a hunger for God, such a hunger for His word. I went home and told my mom and dad that I was giving my heart to the Lord, and my dad was fixing a sandwich, and he was like, "Yeah, whatever, He's heard that so many times. But I was weeping, I was crying, But he's heard that so many times. I've done that so many times. But he says he knew that there was a difference when 2 weeks after that, I would not get my nose out of the Bible. Everywhere I went, I had my Bible, and I read, and I read, and I read, and I read, and I read. And that Bible just started going into my flesh. And you know where John 1 says that the Word of God became flesh and dwelt among us? I really think that I was putting so much Word into my flesh that my flesh started becoming Word and started changing me from the inside out. And I tell you, it just absolutely just transformed my life. I started going to church with my spiritual father in Alabama, and was discipled with him for 6 years, and still am discipled by him. And then, of course, God called us to go to Tennessee, and I went to Tennessee, and I'm really cutting it short, but I was in a drug and alcohol, I was a counselor at a drug and alcohol program in Alabama, and God called us to go to Tennessee to start one. And I started one in Sevierville in 2006, and we ran that all the way till 2009. Some things happened there to where I wasn't able to, because it wasn't our ministry. We started under the church. I wasn't able to do that anymore, and so I started True Purpose in 2009.
Wow.
And I guess the reason why I wanted to do it is because, man, I came out of that and I found Jesus, and Jesus absolutely transformed my life. I mean, there's just of course, scientific evidence that says that, you know, when you're on meth this long and when you've done this long, there's just no way that you can get off of it. You're going to be this way for the rest of your life. I mean, stuff like that. And I wanted to start a place to say, all that is hogwash. You know, Jesus Christ can save your life. He can come in and absolutely transform your life from the inside out, and you can have absolutely everything that you ever dreamed or desired. And the reason I named it True Purpose is because our true purpose is not to be addicted to something, addicted to drugs and alcohol with a needle in our arm. Our true purpose is to glorify God and to do the Father's will.
Yes.
And so that is basically the pattern of our program, is that we want to raise sons and daughters of God to do the will of the Father in heaven. Because if you look everywhere that you saw about Jesus, I mean, he was walking around, he would do all kinds of things. He would always be talking about the Father. Always. He would always talk about how good the Father was. He would always talk about that, hey, my words are not my words, they're my Father's words. The things that I do, only do what I see my Father do, which is in heaven. I have come to do the will of my Father, which has sent me. And really, I mean, if he's saying that, why shouldn't we be?
Yeah,
you know, and so we're called to do the will of the Father. Now, my will looks a little bit different than y'all's will, and Lakin's will, and other people's will. Okay, it's different. But as long as we focus on doing the will that is written of us in heaven to do here, that needs to be our number one focus. And so that's what we teach the men and women. You've got a purpose, you've got a calling, you've got a true purpose. It may not be behind the pulpit, it may not be up on stage, it may be writing books, it may be having a Christian business, a construction company where people can work and be safe. I don't know what that is, but God has called you to do something, and we want to help you find that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a little theme. You said, you know, people that get addicted, that, you know, it's a lifetime addiction, don't really ever get off it. And you said, well, that's hogwash. I'm going to be wrong. Probably shouldn't have pregnant women, right? It's too much liability. Right. And you're like, oh, that's hogwash. Shouldn't do that.
That's right. Yeah.
But you can't let couples be together in the recovery because, you know, they'll leave the program and you're like, oh, that's hogwash. I think I'll do that. So
that's right. That's right.
Be interesting to see what's next that it's not supposed to be done, you know? That's
right. And I tell you, you never know. I'm willing to do whatever. I really am. And I don't say that prideful, and I don't say that boastfully. I just want to do what my Father asked me to do. And I tell you, we just do it. And if you look at our logo, it's a spearhead, you know, and I think that really just you know, brings everything into understanding about our program. Is that spearhead breaks through the matrix, it breaks through and penetrates, and then the arrow is being able to come behind that, and that's just what we do. We spearhead.
The first time I heard about True Purpose, we were at church. I believe it was a Helping Hands event, and they had to put a whole bunch of stuff away. It was at the end. And I remember somebody goes, don't worry about it. The True Purpose guys will take care of all that. Yeah. And I was like, well, who are the True Purpose guys? Yeah. And all of a sudden the room was clean, empty, everything's put away. I'm like,
yes.
Need to find out about this.
Yeah, they get there and they get it done.
They do.
Yeah, they do.
They're amazing.
They've got great hearts to serve. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and I like what you said. We had this little guy come to stay with us, and he wasn't held as a child. when he was a baby, because his mom had been in addiction. And so I would hold him a lot. And remember, the doctors and neurologists would say, well, I'm not a scientist, so I may be completely, saying this wrong, but like the nerves they don't meet. And
when a baby isn't held,
Right.
the connections in the brain aren't met because they're not nurtured.
And they claim they can't be fixed, right? But
we're an orphan ministry, and we've learned with these orphan children that weren't touched as babies or held enough or nurtured or gently touched, that all the way through like 7, 8 years old, they've discovered that if you just start doing that, take a 5-year-old, you start cuddling with them like a baby, right? They will still develop that nurturing thing and gain those things back that they lost.
Awesome.
Well, and he saw me holding this little guy one time, and he said the Lord showed him this vision of those connections being made. And it was just a couple weeks later that a short popped up on YouTube that says science is now believing that those connections can get made.
That's awesome.
But it's Christ, right?
That's right.
Christ can do that. Like he created us, and he created those things to work the way that they're supposed to work.
That's right.
And so sometimes it's not science. Like I hate when they say, well, you can't recover, and you can't do this, and you can't do this because you're, God can do anything.
Sure.
Anyway.
Yeah, I did enough drugs really for my brain to be absolutely fried. They said there's a saying out there on the streets. So you do like 7 hits of acid, then you're supposed to be clinically insane. Man, multiply that times, I don't know. That's what I did. My mind is totally fine.
Yeah.
God restored it all.
It's amazing.
And, people say, oh, you're shot out, you burned too many brain cells. God restores all that. He'll do all that. He'll do all that with your spirit, soul, and body.
Yes.
Yeah, he'll restore it all.
Yes.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So good.
Amen.
So I'm just going to jump to this question really quick. It's nothing to do with what we're talking about, but there's a gentleman here that wants to know what hobby you have. So
Okay. All right.
let's get not so heavy for a minute. And
My favorite hobby is fishing, trout fishing.
Okay.
I love trout fishing. There's nothing like standing out in the middle of the river and your waders. That is the one time that my mind just goes into neutral. It really is. It's the one time that I don't really think about anything. I just get out in the middle of the water. I love trout fishing, but then I guess I would say I like hunting too.
Okay.
I deer hunt, but also bird hunt. I love bird hunting.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I would say those two things are my hobbies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Must be something about the water, because he doesn't relax at all. But there's something about sitting on a boat or on the dock that's just so peaceful.
Yeah. Have you ever been out in the middle of the water fishing or anything? Just out in the middle?
I haven't, no.
Oh, you ought to try it. It's great. To see the river just go, you'll see sticks floating by, you'll see stuff floating by, but it just comes by just being out in the middle. It's amazing.
Actually, we do go up into Sitico and put our chairs out in the stream and just sit.
Yeah, that works.
It is. It's fun and relaxing and peaceful, and especially here in Maryville, Tennessee, right? When you're just surrounded by God's amazing creation.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, it's awesome. We didn't have so much of that in Chicago.
Yeah, yeah. I do like Chicago though. That's actually one of my favorite cities to go to.
Yeah.
For a city, it's a
my wife and I
beautiful
both. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It's a fun place to visit.
Yeah, visit. Yes, I couldn't imagine living there. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I'd like to know what is the vision? Like, what's the future for? You talked a little bit about these homes that you're building, these graduate homes, and that's amazing. But like 10 years goal or long-term goals, what do you see?
I guess the biggest need that we see right now, the reason we built the Dane McCoy graduation house was because that was like a missing piece of the puzzle of our campus. Which meant that, okay, we've got the sober living and they're going through the phases, but some of the guys are just sick and tired of being in a room with 3 other guys. They're ready to branch out. They're ready to have either their own room or at least just have one roommate. And so we built that house, and so we have seen our success rate absolutely skyrocket once we built a graduation house, because now we have an 8 bedroom house where 2 people in each. So it's a 16 person house. And so I tell you, it really helps our success rate because they stick around longer and then they get ready to move on after that. I guess the next thing that I think we really need to spearhead would be affordable housing for families, because that's just, it's almost impossible now. It's very hard. We would love to be able to work with the government, work with, just some agencies, some other nonprofits, some donors or whatever, to be able to have I would love to see recovery communities. That basically we incorporate the program inside of affordable housing, which what that will do is that will absolutely protect the investment of the investors and the government, but also it will keep the families and keep the people accountable. And I just really see that there's little carrots that you can put before them, to help them stay and to help them stay plugged in. But of course, they'll be homeowners. Something that they never thought that they could be. They never thought they could be homeowners. They've been renters all their life. Right. What if we help them own a home, whether it's owner financing or whether it's rent to own or something like that? I guess that's the place that I'm starting to look. Besides opening other programs, we're going to have more pregnant women's homes. We're going to have more couples housing. We're going to have more places for men. That's just part of it. There's counties right now that are asking me to come and start a program there, because the counties just they don't have anything there for recovery, and so that's my heart. There's people, that it's almost like I can just feel the cries, and I always want to try to help out as many people as I can. And those impoverished counties that don't have any help, I want to do that. I want to help them. It just takes time and effort, and of course, finding the right people to go and do that.
Right.
But I would definitely say, besides starting other programs, it would be having recovery communities.
That's
kind of like a I guess ecosystem wouldn't be the right word, but I mean it would just be all the way through. They start in from off the streets, come all the way through, and move into affordable housing with their family, and that's what I'd love to see.
That would be great. Yeah, and that affordable piece is so important too, because how do you come out of a program? And I mean, I've seen the cost of a rental home in this market, and
especially where we live. We would have to go somewhere outside of Blount County, most likely. It would be hard because, there's just so little land in Blount County. But of course, if we were to, we have our eye on some places, but if that were to materialize, we really think it would really help out a lot of people.
Are you thinking like a subdivision? Is that...
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. A lot like that, where everybody there is in recovery. But you can have meetings. You can, of course, just be provide accountability for them, drug testing, but they can own a home, and it's a safe place. They're not moving in with their old drug dealers or their old friends or mom or dad in compromised areas. They are living in a safe place, and that's the key. If they can live in a safe place, their success rates can skyrocket.
I love that. I love that idea.
Yeah. So that's something I think that we really need or are looking into.
That's good. Probably somebody told you it couldn't be done, right? And you're like, we're gonna. That's hogwash.
100%. Yeah. I've got a good friend. His name is Gil Heinsohn, but he is just a development guru. I mean, he knows all the codes. He knows real estate law. He's just one of those guys. But he would, he's got some great ideas on how to get that done.
That's
awesome. He really does. He's a good one. Yeah.
So I know that's a long-term goal. How about currently, right now, today, what are your biggest needs at True Purpose?
Biggest needs, I would say, of course, besides finances. I mean, having so many pregnant women, sometimes it's hard on the finances, because what has to happen, we kind of have to rob Peter to pay Paul. We have to take from the men's program and move it over to the women's program, because there's just not a lot of funding that you can that helps with the operational costs there. So, besides finances, I would definitely have to say housing. We need more housing. We're, of course, in the process, we know that there's going to be other programs that we're going to be starting, and so we just definitely need more housing, vans. You can imagine taking everybody to work, everybody to church all the time. Vans are always breaking down. They're always needing repairs. I mean, those kind of things. Of course, food. I mean, just you name it. We have a lot of needs. But I would say the housing and finances is the key. Is probably the forefront.
And you have a day of giving coming up. Let's talk about that for a minute.
Okay.
When is it? How do people get involved? What are you looking for?
It is actually a week from today. Okay, and so that's November 13th, and we are basically wanting to push that this is our 15-year anniversary, and just how many people have come through the program, how many people have been helped, how many people have families and have their lives back. We just really want to push them out there. We want to get their story known. We want to let everybody know that if it can happen to them, it can happen for us or for you. And so we just want to really just give God all the glory for the 15 years that we've been in existence. And so that day of giving is going to start in the morning. Of course, I think there's some people that are starting to give, and you can give early, but we're really trying to raise $15,000 for that day.
Okay.
Yeah. And we have a donor already that's come forth that said that they would be willing to match up to $20,000.
Wow.
And so we know that if we can raise 20, then we get another 20.
That's right.
And so that would be 40.
That's
and
awesome.
So that's going to be huge. So, if you're thinking about giving a True Purpose, you can wait till the 13th if you want to. Just go on the website. But yeah, it's going to go towards primarily it's going to go towards pregnant women. I'll just go ahead and tell you.
Okay.
We're just going to try to make sure they have everything they need.
Well, and if you're not thinking about giving to True Purpose, you should be thinking about giving to True Purpose because this is amazing, everything that you guys are doing. And I know just doing the You Are Loved interview, so many of those people came through the program or are in the program, and the stories are so encouraging and so inspiring, and they bring others so much hope. And it's funny because when Lakin and I first sat down and tried to figure out how do we do this, and we met with you and we collaborated and said, let's start telling some stories. We thought, well, how many of these can we do before all these stories start to sound the same? We'll do a few, maybe 5 or 10, and then they'll probably get to be kind of boring. I think we're at 40 something stories now, and not one is the same as another one. The way that God just reaches in such a personal way and just helps people overcome the trials and the trauma that they've been through. It's so personal and so amazing that you can't see that and not have hope.
That's right. We talked about that puzzle a while ago. Really, these stories are just a piece of the puzzle that goes in, and each piece is different. And I tell you, it's amazing to see everything just be put together, and that's what God's doing. In His massive blueprint, in His will, that's exactly what He's doing with us. We are a puzzle piece that fits and joins together. The Bible says, "Where every joint supplieth." When we come together, we are stronger. We're a body of Christ, and we all come for a united purpose. But each puzzle piece has a purpose, and that's one thing that I love about you. You Are Loved series. I tell you, y'all do such a great job just glorifying God, giving Him all the glory, and that's all we want. And just, of course, these people's stories are heard, and if they can do it, it can happen for anybody else.
Absolutely. If they can do it, you can do it.
That's right.
Yes.
That's what I love about your book. The book is great. And getting all of the stories in there and going from one to another. I mean, literally, if you have no hope, and you are struggling with living day by day, not knowing if your situation is going to change, get this book. Get this book.
Well, thank you for that plug. Yes.
Watch You Are Loved. It's awesome.
Yeah. It was all God that came together too. Like that puzzle piece. Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm sure we'll link the website.
That's what I was just,
What is the name of your website?
TruePurposeMinistries.com.
Okay.
And is that how you want people to give on the day of giving through that website?
Sure. We have a direct page. I believe it's now on the home page where when you go, you'll start seeing something about the day of giving, and it's really easy. Really, really awesome platform to be able to give. Just buttons, hit the buttons, and if you want to be a monthly, you can be a monthly. But if you just want to be a one time. We would love to see as many monthlies as we possibly can. I mean, I tell you, we just need as much help as we possibly can. Cause there's a lot of people that come in that do not have entry fees. I mean, you can imagine all the bridges that they burned when they're trying to get help. We have a $350 entry fee. There's tons of people that do not have it. And then of course, when they come in for 90 days, we are just basically providing free treatment for them, and we're housing them for free. We're clothing them if they need clothes, shoes, food, whatever the case may be. And so we just need your help. So if you consider to be a monthly partner, that'd be great.
Well, and I can remember when I interviewed Sean, I think he was season 1, and it was one of the most impactful for me stories because I was new to understanding all the things that someone in recovery goes through. And he talked about how he was in jail for so long that when he got out of jail, like jail let him out, and he's standing there and he has no phone and he doesn't even know anyone's phone number, and anyone whose phone number he might knew, those bridges had been burned, and he had no idea what to do. And for the first time I thought, what would you do? Like, what would you do? You've served your time, you've paid your consequences, and now you're completely on your own. And so thankfully he walked to the church, and the church said, I know an amazing program, and called you guys, and you guys said, bring him in. He had no money, no way of paying you, but you just were following the Lord and being obedient, and he's doing amazing today.
He
and
is
so
phenomenal.
To me, that was just like, I had never considered what happens, because I've always had someone to call and someone safe to help me in a situation. And so I have no idea what that would be like, and I never considered it until I heard his story, and it just changed my whole view of everything.
Yeah, sometimes they burn so many bridges and the relationships are just absolutely gone that when they come out of jail, they literally have nobody to talk to, nobody to call. And I say that a lot. I could not imagine not having anybody to call.
Right.
Like, but we see it all the time. They literally are at rock bottom, and that's another good, that is just another good relationship that we had with Rio Revolution. It's just a great relationship. I mean, I tell you, they do so much for our guys, so much for True Purpose. It's just, I tell you, they're just such a support to us, and we love them so much. And so when guys come in there, of course, they believe in the program, and they're able to steer them in the right direction, get them in, and I tell you, then Jesus changed their life. That's awesome. Yeah.
Yes.
I saw a letter from a gentleman who was in jail. He saw these Your Love videos, and he wrote to the church and said, I'd given up. I have nobody. I didn't care if I stayed in jail forever. And I come up for parole, but he didn't even pursue it. It just didn't matter to me. I had nowhere to go. And he saw these videos, and he asked, is there any way someone can help me get into True Purpose? And so we already connected him with your people, and that's going to happen next year when he comes off parole.
Awesome.
But he literally said, I had no hope. Like, I thought my life was over.
Yeah.
He's in his 50s. He's not old. I mean, it's just incredible what
You can
one
imagine,
testimony can do.
Yeah, you can imagine going through prison for that many years and how everything changes. Everything changed. After 5 years, a lot of things change. And then you're getting out, and you're like, man, what's going on here? It's just a whole new, and inside of the prison, it's just a whole nother system that you just get accustomed to. And there's a lot of people that can just live in a prison because they've gotten so used to it. But when they get on the outside, they have no idea what to do. They've been institutionalized. And of course, that's what we're here for. Jesus can change all that.
Absolutely.
Do you have, thinking of that, you get people that come from the jails.
Yep.
Is that part of your program, life skills training and things like that, just to get them back in the
we do.
We take for granted?
That's part of our VR program. There's it really helps them with a lot of that stuff. Interviews. One of the first things we try to do is just see what they're lacking, like if they're lacking a Social Security card, driver's license, and what's it going to take. We start kind of putting vision and goals. Habakkuk 2:2 says, write the vision, write it plain upon the wall, so that he who runs can run there too. And so, that's what we kind of do. We want to see them have vision out in front of them of getting these things. And so you would be amazed when somebody gets their license, or when somebody gets a job, or when somebody gets their Social Security card even. It's just a smile on their face. They're like, I could not ever imagine being able to do this on my own. And we're helping them do it. And I tell you, there's just such a smile that comes on their face. And so that's what we want. We want them to accomplish goals, because with every accomplishment of a goal, it gives them the steam to keep going and go further and go further. Because in that drug and alcohol world, there's just, it's just so much hopelessness. It's just they do not feel like they can do anything on their own. They just feel so indigent, and that's what Jesus does. He comes in and restore all that and gives them the faith and the courage to move forward. So
amazing.
Yeah, amen.
Well, we are so grateful for everything that you're doing, that your ministry is doing. And again, I just want to encourage you, if you're watching, like, check out True Purpose Ministries, the website, the Facebook page. Give on their day of giving, November 13th. I promise you that your gift will be stewarded well, and that lives will be changed, not just on this earth, but eternally as well, which is even more important, right?
Yes, that's right. That's right. The eternal.
And when you're giving, you always should think of giving into good soil.
Yes.
And I will just tell you, it's good soil.
Thank you.
Yes. Well, thank you.
That.
Thank you for joining us and sharing a little bit about you, a little bit about the ministry. And I look forward to seeing how God's going to use you guys. And let's do this again in a year and get an update of this new housing that you've got and all these exciting things going on.
Yeah, there might be about 5 or 6 more campuses. You never know. So
or 10, 20, who knows?
20, that's right. Yeah, you never know.
God's a multiplier.
Yes.
That's right. He is. Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for joining us tonight.
Thank
really
you for having
appreciate
me.
you.
It's